pandemic got us into a reflective space and made us look inward to see what we can do for the world at large. As a self-expression coach, I became a catalyst for women and started Vani, a one-on-one coaching program for women on finding their voice, to speak up, to be visible. As a storyteller, I spotted there were many ordinary people amongst us leading extraordinary lives, making a difference to the world, and they needed to be heard. Thus was born You and I with Rashmi Shetty, where amazing personal journeys with their uniqueness and individuality are showcased, a reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guests today are Dr. Prakash and Chaitra Sontakke. Chaitra is a vocalist, performer, teacher, mentor, equally at ease with Hindustani Classical as well as Bhajan, Sufi, and fusion music. Presently with the Shankar Mahadevan Academy, she is someone who's born in a music-loving family, and her interest in music was nurtured by her grandmother. She later went on to become a student with Dr. Srimati Mani Sontakke and Dr. R.B. Sontakke. Currently, she's pursuing her Ph.D. in music. Dr. Prakash Chaitra is a vocalist, multi-instrumentalist, composer, director, filmmaker, innovator, motivational speaker, and traveler. A co-composer, vocalist, and guitarist on the Grammy-winning album Winds of Samsara, and the only Indian to have won the Independent World Music Awards USA and the National Award for Composers, where his composition was chosen over that of the maestro Ilayaraja, is a special moment. Recently, his music for the documentary on Kashi Vishwanath Corridor was shared by the Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi himself. Listen in as they talk about how beautifully art and life blend, and how music plays such a beautiful role in their lives. Such a pleasure having you, Chaitra, in this journey with Prakash ji along with you. Welcome to You and I with Rashmi Shetty. This, for me, is an honor, hosting the two of you. I've always noticed what a beautiful blend both of you are when it comes to music. And you're so together that I could not think of a conversation with you individually. And I thought I'll invite both of you together for this journey. So you take us where you want to take us, and we will just come along with you and listen.
My memories go back to my grandmother singing. So she used to be singing all the time, even while she's doing some work, and sitting in front of God and maybe lighting a lamp and then singing. In evening, we used to sing bhajans. So that is where I started. So she taught me the first notes and first song. And then formally, I started learning. So that's where I started my musical journey. And formal learning, I think, happened much later. My formal learning started when I was in my 6th standard.
Does Chaitra, because the Chaitra I know is a quiet, smiling Chaitra. Joy is never beyond a smile. I've never seen you excited or anything. I've only seen you calm and smiling all the time. Is there a Chaitra who sings when Chaitra is happy? Who hums all the time? What is Chaitra behind that teacher the world knows?
I think in my classes and my students know me better as a person outside. I think in outside situations where there is a show going on, especially when the students are performing. So that's, I think, where most of you all have seen me. So I wouldn't be the joyous self unless, maybe at the later or end of the day when I'm having a quiet time with my students. So that's only a part of me. And yeah, it's a lot of responsibility because you're putting these children up there on stage and you have to make sure that they're comfortable first. So performance wise practice, yes, they would have put in their efforts, but what happens there, whether they're nervous or not, they make sure that they're all happy. And I think that is something that keeps me occupied, keeps my mind
Okay, but
occupied when it is
what
exam.
brought you into the teaching space, Chaitra? From being somebody who was initiated by your grandmother, getting into formal music, not thinking about it as a career, but just doing it for the joy. What brought you into teaching?
When you learn classical music, teaching, I think, comes as a part of the Guru Shishya Parampara. That's what I believe in. And probably that's how the tradition has carried forward for so long, in spite of no proper documentation. Like we all know that we don't, we have all the, documentation in bits and pieces from the, say, ancients. So it's only the Guru Shishya Parampara. So there is an element of teaching in the tradition itself. That is one thing, first point. Secondly, I think a teacher is somebody who thinks about others, and that should come naturally. Where I think in my family there is a natural thing of my father. He runs a school, academic school, and uh, always seen him worrying about others, or um, how to do good, how to contribute to the society that we are in, because I come from a small place called Kalasa.
Okay. In
I mean,
Karnataka?
now it is no more a small town. It's kind of grown, yes, in Karnataka, in Chikmagalur
Okay, okay.
district, Hornadu. So it was the only English medium school that he's running. It's running till today. So all the children around those places used to come, and he had one small hostel, and he used to kind of make sure that those children who could not afford education also would come to school. And that inspires you, to kind of get into education in that space. So
Okay.
I kind of combined both. I mean, it just happened in a flow, I would say. And even in my Guru Parampara, my Guruji and Prakash's mother, I is called her auntie always. So both of them also are inspiring. So when they are like inspiring teachers as well. So when they teach, they kind of forget themselves. So it just happened in a flow by looking at all these people around me and with whom I grew up.
Okay. Okay, now I know where the humility comes from and where the giving back more than taking in comes in from. Wow.
I
Okay,
think
and
that's what I do is just a part of what all of them have done. So it's my small, uh, very humble attempt.
yeah, that's very beautifully said, Chaitra, and very typical of you. I cannot expect another answer from you. So, yes, it perfectly fits into the Chaitra Sontakke that I know. And Prakashji, what about you?
I don't remember any point of time where there was a concept of formal training, because I grew up with like children have toys to play with. I had so many instruments around the house because my mother used to play so many instruments. So there were instruments around the house. So we didn't even realize when we understood all those things that we understood. And I don't know, many years later, I think almost after maybe PUC or something, I kind of realized that I have been sitting on a gold mine of information, but doing nothing about it. Because a friend of mine, he introduced me, not rather, he started talking about. I used to go for these engineering lessons for AMIE. There, one of this friend called Sachidanand was there, who used to come and discuss ragas with me. And he used to say, see, this is Kedar and that is Bhupali. And one day I just pointed out that no, this is not Kedar. And I explained to him. Then he said, how do you know this? I said, you come to my house one day. So he comes to my house and he sees hundreds of instruments all across the house, and he was very shocked. He said, my God, you come from this background, and what are you doing with engineering? And I was like, no, my mother wanted me to be an engineer because my mother felt that music has too much of headache, politics, should not get into music. So that was her opinion. So I was kind of prepared for that mentally, that, okay, I would never make music as a profession. But my friend asking me this and every other day discussing kind of made me feel that there must be some value to this somewhere in the world. You know, if we have not probably realized it, or we have gone through a rough patch, it doesn't mean that the world is not going to welcome you in that way. So that was the very first beginning of the seed of thought that yes, maybe I should do something more serious about it. And just then I just tried some things. Then there was this Akashvani audition, and suddenly I got a B high grade in it, you know, because you're supposed to get B high grade after 7 or 8 years of exposure. So that was automatic. And then suddenly I got a chance with ICCR to tour. I had not even toured too many cities in India, and suddenly I was touring Europe and Malaysia and all kinds of countries without even having known my next town, you know. So suddenly seeing so much of outside world, which was very, very welcome to Indian classical music. And they all thought that Indian classical music is the amazing heritage, which probably I think the Indians have only realized very less about.
Yes, true.
So that realization from the outside world was very powerful, you know, too powerful to ignore. But at the same time, I also understood that when I was traveling with other classical musicians, I thought that the point of communication was the whole issue, you know, because classical music is amazing as long as you understand it and you enjoy it. But what about conveying the same thought to somebody else? Because, you know, I really believe in this concept of, I always think very powerfully about Mahatma Gandhi for this reason. I might have certain beliefs, I might have certain commitments, but how do I convince 100 crore country about my beliefs and commitments? So that is the greatest message of communication, which you probably have to understand, that there must be some way of communication by which you convey to such a large mass about the beauty of your subject. So that was one of the basic seeds to then start going into different directions to see how the same idea of classical can be reinforced through so many other mediums. Because I think in Indians especially, we are so amazing that even when pizza arrived in this country, even I think the people who invented pizza would not have thought that there will be a paneer pizza and, you know, butter paneer pizza. So I think that's the typical genius of Indians, no? That we bring anything from anywhere and we can make it our own through our own beautiful way.
Yeah.
And probably we did this with so many other musical forms also, because we took everything from anywhere and we made it our own. So that was one of the very strong thoughts which came into me, that yes, we should pursue music with this thought that such a beautiful music, such an amazing music, such a great heritage has to go to more people. There's no point in saying that, oh my God, I'm sitting on a gold mine, but you don't care about it. No? Unless and until the other person sitting there also feels that gold with his hand and sees, oh my God, this is really gold. All you're talking about, your gold is of no value.
True.
So it's about the means how the people are going to perceive this whole art is the biggest story. I believe that's the whole story which is still going on, that we are trying even in SMA to see how classical music can be enforced in a beautiful way where people enjoy it. People think it's something which will empower me with something more, you know. Not just say, okay, I want to learn 2-3 ragas so that I can sing Jabdeep Jalyana better. You know, Jabdeep Jalyana is not the end of the story; it's the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was pretty much my, you know, thought. And my parents, both of them were incredibly dedicated teachers. Like Chaitra says that they would never think, like my father used to always say this, that you have a geography teacher, you have a maths teacher in school. If every teacher started thinking that I will teach maths only if this kid shows commitment towards mathematics, if the geography teacher says I'll teach geography only if this child says I love geography, then all teaching in this world will stop. The teaching has to be done with the same commitment that yes, my subject is the most beautiful subject. I have to teach it with utmost sincerity and not think that I will take tests of people for 6 months, 2 years and see, is he really going to take up this? Nobody here is carrying any sultanate. It's not like, we're carrying a very big sultanate which we have to take forward. In your own small way, you have to contribute with the most seriousness that yes, I am the biggest torchbearer of this particular thing. That's all. So if every teacher does it with the same intention, every subject will be equally beautiful, because we remember the most beautiful subject as the explanation is done by the most beautiful teacher. It's only the teachers whom we remember, sometimes not even the subjects. You'll remember the name of the teacher who taught you that subject so beautifully. So of course now you know the subject, but that teacher stays in the memory because of the teaching. So that has to be the approach. You can't say, oh, this is not important to him, it's just a hobby, why should I waste my time? No, you can't say that about any student, because you never know when something will awaken in that child someday and he might do something great with it. So we can't be judgmental. You have to teach. A teacher's biggest job is to just teach with the utmost sincerity that yes, my subject is the most beautiful and I'm going to take this subject into the heart of the child. That's all. So I think we both that way, I think, have the same thoughts about it, but we otherwise keep fighting a lot about
other things. But all that you said, Prakash, it comes with hindsight. Now, when you look back, all of this is what you learned. But while you were there as a young boy with your parents growing up, seeing music all around you, what was it that you were absorbing just passively because it was happening around you? Or did you understand, enjoy, and just take it? What was happening?
So no, it's in a musician's house. It is so strange that today somebody is learning, let us say, the basic raga, like let us say the beginning raga maybe. It's not, no raga is the beginning raga. It's a Bhopali. Somebody is learning Bhopali.
At a beginning level.
At a beginning level, yes. So you learn Bhopali and you are hearing Bhopali today, and then suddenly tomorrow you are listening to some very serious darbari, So your learnings and the way you are perceiving things, it's very strange. It's not in a, it's not been classified. This is this, this is this. Everything just goes into you. My mother was very smart in this regard. She kept putting me through music examinations. My father was the greatest critic about it. He used to say, "Arey, ye exam dene se kya hota hai? Who learns music by examination?" I have seen all these arguments happen in my own house. So I can imagine how musicians will react. So my dad used to say, nobody learns music by exams. My mother used to say, whether he learns or not is a different issue. But before an exam, say 1 month before the exam, he'll at least sit and go through those ragas.
But you never protested? You thought that's part of...
I was very great in the protesting art, because I used to slowly side with my father when it became convenient for me, and then slowly side with my mother whenever it became convenient. But they both, and interestingly, in spite of all this story, there was never a force. My dad used to say, "Dekho, ये सब राग है, देखो क्या करना है," and then I would only feel very stupid because I go there and sit down and somebody says, "अरे सोनटक्के जी का लड़का है," and then suddenly so many people, "Oh, सोनटक्के जी का लड़का है, oh, we have to listen to him," and then I would suddenly feel, oh my God, so many people are listening to me seriously, for what reason? Like, then Sontakke family. Oh, so because my father was in the circles of music known as a very, very scholarly person. He was very clear about the theoretical part of it, the practical part of it, and all top musicians of the country would come and ask him doubts about ragas and all that. So he was kind of known for this. So everybody used to say, "Arey, Sontakke ji ka ladka hai, chalo kuch sunao, dekho suna jaye." So that suddenly used to put me in a very strange spot that, oh my God, people want to listen to me and I'm just being so casual about it. And not that I suddenly became very serious about it either. But the casualness and the seriousness, a great mix of both kept happening in my life, which is why I felt that I would understand that if somebody is singing something wrong, I would know that this is not happening the right way. But then my dad had told something beautiful, that when you are listening to somebody, do not judge. When you are listening, don't get into judgmental mode when you are listening. Listen to the whole thing. And then if you feel that there is something that needs to be discussed, You can come and tell me that something I felt was not right. You can discuss that. But do not form an opinion suddenly ki, Arey yaar, this guy doesn't know this raga at all. Don't get into the judgmental. So I think that pace, even to this day, when I listen to a youngster or a completely unknown person also singing or playing, I never judge. I never judge and decide, okay, this guy is 5 out of 10 or 2 out of 10. I feel that there is the listening part of the audition is only for the sake of judging where this person can go to, rather than decide where he is. The whole concept of auditioning and all that. I believe that it's only for the beginning to how to take this child into a journey where will he be able to sustain or take it up, rather than deciding that okay, this is all he knows, he can't go any further. I find that most of the musical reality shows, competitions, they kind of try to say that okay, this is where you are, this is your milestone, which is not to our standardization. I believe that you have to actually tell that student that you will actually start your journey now. So all the test is only to see if you will start, because even in job sector, you see people do 4 years of BE, then go to a company, and then the company says 6 months you have to learn what to do. So nobody asks कि मैंने 4 साल fees देके क्या किया. If I had to 6 months learn what I had to do, that means I didn't know anything, no? Now you know this, so we know that now if we teach you this, you will understand this. That's all. So that is how I looked at most of the. So as a teacher, then as a complete bystander, because I would always suddenly I put myself as a total bystander and think, okay, if somebody is going to ask me a question about music, what is music? From a bystander's opinion, there are thousands of different definitions. It cannot be my scholarly, 20 years of riyaz and, 14 hours a day makes you into an amazing musician. It's not, I'm not doing an ad line. I'm just thinking that why is a bystander asking this question? Ki, Arey, what is music, sir? Mujhe sangeet nahi malum. Sangeet hai kya? So such questions I used to come across when as a myself, I used to ask this question to myself, ki, what is music? If you have to define it. And so these curiosities used to make me understand that yes, there is a different perspective totally to see it from, rather than just, the scholarly perspective or the hardworking perspective. Student first few years only struggling to do this. Then he's struggling to do that. And then he thinks, okay, he has achieved that. So he thinks these struggles are stupid. Then he is going to something next level. So this whole journey, my father used to talk about his Guruji, that is Pandit OmkarnathThakur, who was a very, 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 erudite and a very, very scholarly musician, who used to start the Saregama for the first student in the college. The very basic lesson. He never thought that I am such a big scholar, such a big musician. Why should I be sitting with these basic lessons of Saregama Padani? So those things remain in the memory. That, even the greatest musician thought that the very first basic lesson also has to be taught with the same seriousness. You can't say, these basic things, you can learn from somebody and after 10 years come to me, I'll make you something. That is where our music, I think, suffers from. We need to take it to that level where the biggest performers also have to be the biggest teachers. Obviously, means if you are not a good teacher, in my opinion, you can't even become a good performer. The reverse. People always say, oh, you're a great performer, so you will not be a great teacher. Means I don't understand the logic. If you have not learned your subject, only you can talk like this. If you have learned your subject thoroughly and understood it to be as a true form of expression, you have to be a great teacher and a great performer, both at the same time.
Okay. Were both of you always in sync like this? Where did the two of you meet? Yes, of course, you were coming for classes. So there were classes happening outside the classes for sure. You are such a shy person, Chaitra. How did you even talk to Prakash ji?
I didn't talk to him for a long time. Tune the Tanpura.
Yeah, so my duty was to tune the Tanpura. Like before my mother's class, my job was to go and check if the Tanpura is in tune, because that time all the classes were only through the original Tanpura only. So I used to come to tune the Tanpura, and I was very conscious about the fact that this is a musician's house and people are coming, girls are coming to learn. It should never happen that somebody says something, oh my God, there's a very vagabond boy there who is troubling girls.
You would not even smile.
So I used to be very serious about my tuning Tanpura. I just tune it and go, that's it. So for several months we never spoke also, and
You're
she
like
would
that now also. He doesn't smile like.
see.
That time he was more so like.
Yeah, so I was very serious a person because I would be practicing, and usually I was woken up by my mother for these kind of tasks because she would say, "Now finish, stop your practice now, go and tune the tanpa." So my brain would be in some zone and just come down, tune the tanpa, and go back to that so that I can continue back with it again. So I think that those are the initial memories that she thought that as a very very strict person or something.
You notice now.
Till people get to know me, they don't understand who I am because they might see me as a very some kind of a khadus person or something.
Then there were times when he used to be playing his violin those days mostly, more than guitar. To get to hear him practice. So
Nothing of this happened in such a conscious way that it was, like, oh yeah,
we started with some
now it's
discussions.
yeah.
I
Means
think.
we were always our topics would always end up with some serious discussions about music. Now also it is the same. In every morning we get up with some serious discussion about music, about what to do for this, what to do for that. And I think yeah, means that's we are just blessed. I feel that we have something to discuss every morning. There's never a day where like we don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
It's always okay, like we had to, okay, let me just put this thought aside for me to go and get something from the market. It's always like that. It's always there's something going on cooking in the head all the time. Yeah.
Then yeah, I think once we called. I had to call him as a judge for something that I was organizing in college. That's how.
Okay.
And I failed her friends, all of her friends. I failed. It was definitely not a pleasant moment. I am sure
But they
that.
became your students.
Yeah, and but that guy
Somehow.
became my student later on. That's another interesting story. I think these are things which happen naturally. I never thought that because I have been taken by Chaitra to judge, I had to just keep passing all her best friends.
Yeah.
That was not my agenda. So I could be that way called as an unpleasant person.
No. I think it's the love for music and music which finally was the winner that day. So much before ICCR, your exposure to world music was there.
Yeah, because my house was very close to this in BHU where we used to live, Benares in the university. Our house was very close to the international guest house, hardly 100 meters from the international. So most of the time we had friends in the international guest house to go and play tennis, and generally we like a Firangi, outsider. We always were very in Benares is typical. It's
Yeah.
beautiful that you see so many outsiders so commonly that it becomes very common for you. You don't think, oh, British, oh, American. It's like they're just hanging around in the ghats.
Yeah.
So these people had become our friends, and I had been listening to so much of Pink Floyd on their collections. So I used to be so inspired by Pink Floyd because I found that Pink Floyd exactly was like a mirror image of what I was learning in the house as a raga, existing as a totally different platform on some other world. So in the rock world, this is something very different, but the same thing is a very simple raga in my system. So that happened that early, where it was not even on a conscious level that yes, I am perceiving this and I am doing something incredible. I never thought about all this. I used to go to weddings and I used to be playing totally classical music, and I would mix Shine On You Crazy Diamond or Wish You Were Here in a totally classical piece, and everybody will come and say bahala chanagitu sir, tumba chanagitu. So the listener's perspective is very simple. He just listens.
Yeah.
He doesn't have genre specifications like now it became this. So when you play any form of music to a good listener, he just listens. So that is the most important element of music listening in me.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of communication and the commonality with music. Both have to touch the heart. And when you've touched a person's heart, the communication has been done. And that's exactly what I think you did with your music, Prakashji. So though you didn't smile, I think your music did all the smiling and connection. And that's how you are where you are. But with these influences coming in and making you and blending you into the musician that you slowly started evolving to, where did the entire process of you moving out and getting the globe to listen to you happen, and how did that happen? Because you're today an international musician.
Yeah, means I think today, because of the online world, we are living in an instant on international world.
Correct.
The online world is literally the international world, because once you switch on your camera, you can be seen by anybody in the world anyway.
Yes.
So that, I think, the coming of internet, and much before, I think 2004 people say they credit YouTube. I was uploading things on computers, trying to put things as early as 2000, maybe 97, 98 itself. I used to do lots of video recordings of my own playing and play it up there. And that time there was this thing called Universal Tube, which later on became YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
So I was uploading content as early as 98, 99, and many musicians used to ask me, like, are you crazy sharing your music? My thought was, if somebody wants to play my music, I'm very welcome to that thought, because I do not feel that I'm the only harbinger of this and it will go with me to the grave. It was very stupid of thought. I should say, good, if somebody wants to play it, let them play. While as in the other classical world, as early as 97, 98, this is totally sacrilege, like putting out your content, anybody can take it and do something. What will they do with it? Let the most. And will they do good justice? Let them. If they do good justice, I will get to know something new. That is my opinion. So in that, I was sharing content that early that by 2005 or 2006, so many of my recordings, which were shared across the internet, that too on the YouTube, were getting me shows from unknown countries. I wouldn't even know, and it would happen, which is why I believe in YouTube so much, that I had not even known that there was this very great guitarist who passed away, of course, from Norway. I used to live in this place called Arendal. It's extremely cold. You can't, like, minus 35 is normal. Such a country. And there he saw my playing on this classical instrument, and he sent me a feedback on the YouTube saying that, you have got a great playing style, but I think the instrument which you have is not the best. You should get something better. So I couldn't believe that this is somebody from some other part of the, and I didn't even know where he's from, because it was just a straight away comment, and I couldn't even make out where he's from. So I asked him. Then he connected me to a couple of these amazing guitar makers in America. I talked to the very first guitar maker about this, and he says, my guitars start from $2,000 onwards, So that's unheard of in Indian currency, like starting from 2 lakhs onwards, basically. So 2 lakhs is starting means it thinks like, okay, it is something which is we are not even going to think about. But 6 months from then, suddenly a concert happens in America. I go for a concert in America. Then I reach out to this guy. I communicate with him. He brings me a guitar and he gives me something. I come back with it, start playing. I realize it's incredibly different from all instruments that I owned before. And that was the beginning of another journey, to getting the right instruments. And I think I could have built a new house easily if I had not been buying this instrument. But I never regretted it, because I felt that there is a particular tone of a particular instrument which I wanted, and I would want it. And of course, really courageous of Chaitra that she never discouraged me from that, though she made faces at that. I would go my entire tour's budget would be a new guitar. That's it. I would just come back with a new guitar and nothing else. And she would be like, what happened? I said, I got a new guitar. And she would be wondering that, what can we say about the sanity of this man? But I think that way she is very, she supported me in every way. There is no doubt about it, because I'm a very crack person. I could just be suddenly the whole day sitting with my headphones and just doing something. Not, she might be getting irritated, I know for sure. Even if she says no, I know that. But in spite of all that, she just supported she supported the fact that, okay, if you have to, because it's being an artist and a musician and being a creative person, it's a very dangerous self-indulgence. It's a very, very dangerous self-indulgence, and it could be sometimes very, it could be very irritating for the people around. But she and the kids have been really nice to me.
But do you draw the lines, or do they tolerate you?
No, I have actually, you will be surprised at the amount of democracy in my house. We have surpassed the Indian democracy way back. So you could understand what it means. So in our house, democracy is on a totally different level. My daughter and son can just completely condemn my ideas because whenever I make a new tune, when the process of a tune happening also, she's a very great critic about it. Like I'll make something and I'll be very happy with it, and she'll say, "Oh, the kids are not going to like this at all," and I'll be like, "Huh? Arey, this is such a great tune, bhai. No, 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 no. Nobody. This is very boring." So it's as at the time I'm saying that people think that, wow, Chaitra just sits and admires whatever Prakash ji does. There's no such thing. I should have candid cameras someday and record all these things. Then really the criticism, it's very direct. It's never colored. Like think of something better. It's not like that. It's boring. And then you realize, oh, okay, maybe yeah. So you have to think about it again. So which is get you to get more creative. And she'll always be so right about, like whichever, like with this time we made this tune in 9.5. I was, like as an, I'll just be gloating over it for some time. Wow, what an amazing tune. I'm so amazing. And then she said, without lyrics, this tune is a waste. And
initially we thought we'll do some swaras.
Yeah, we just thought of doing swaras. And then
it wouldn't go across like how it did.
Then we spoke to Himangi. And you won't believe that student Himangi, I don't want to call her as a student. She just made such incredible lyrics and she sent it for the first time. I was like, oh, this whole song got a totally new dimension, which I had totally ignored maybe. But so that is Chaitra's thought, and she'll always know what is to be done with that composition in the right way, which students to involve, how to. I mean, it's I think Chaitra is a great master in all those things. She'll herself sing, and she'll say, "Try no, we have to give it slightly more tougher, make it little more tougher for some, because students have come to a good level. Because you find SMA students singing the most difficult compositions with such ease because they have never been told that, oh my God, I sang this, I practiced this for 30 years. You listen to stories like that, you feel very scared. So, but it's not, if you don't tell anything to the child and just say, just sing this. It's a very simple tune. They just do it. And which is what I found, that the communication of Chaitra has been like that it's just like pure water, there's no colors, there's no artificiality. And she's what she is, which is why the students will always, they'll say, ma'am, we have to practice this properly, ma'am. Chalo, let's do it. So it's never like, no, you can't do this. This can't do this has never been in any of the dictionaries in our house.
Wow. So Chaitra, coming back to you, as a teacher over the years, now looking back, where do you think you picked that ability to be so patient and just accept them for who they are, rather than, generally, especially with music, there are certain paramparas and gharanas which have to be followed and it has to be done like this only. But you are somebody who's been very flexible. And I would borrow Prakash ji's words, like water, in the sense water takes the shape of whichever vessel you put it in. You are able to alter yourself to the student given to you. How are you today, looking back, making yourself so moldable? Were there influences that made you that? Or was it something that you learned on the way? How did you pick up to be a teacher like that?
I think it's a combination of all. Definitely of the influences. This is one thing I tell even other teachers who come and like who are working with me in the academy setup, or one maybe the key thing that we all have learned from our gurus. And of course I've been lucky to have gurus who have been kind to me, and they accepted me as I am, or my voice, or they didn't make any criticism on the kind of voice, or they just gave me they just showed me the route to to make it better. So I think that is one main or major inspiration from my the people who taught me, and the same, I tell the same thing to my teachers too, who are there, that if your guru has taken you, so you should also have the same acceptance to others. So what makes me feel that I am something very, very big or very great, or something like, why would I go with that kind of a feeling? Because there, at that point, the student is the central person, because that student has come to you with a lot of love for music, which you have to only nourish, and each one comes with their own qualities. And as a teacher, I think you have to make them the best form of themselves. I think that is the best way to train them, rather than make them something else or what they are not. You have to just see the best of them and keep nourishing that.
Bring out the best in them.
As we move on, what I want to ask Prakash ji, you at this point, is the discovery of that slide guitar of yours and your ability to leave such a huge footprint, where you've been part of the Grammy award-winning album as well. So the collaboration that happens with so many musicians of different genres, how are you able to still find your space in it and come out of it and walk like nothing has happened or changed in your life? How are you able to carry this so lightly? I'm just so curious.
I really feel that awards, the real purpose of awards is actually to know the other strata of society which you are not a part of, to get some awareness about this strata of society. That's all. So as a musician, when you are given an award becomes a headline, and people who are not musicians like you, or in the same profession or interested in the same profession, also get to know about it. An engineer will hear Grammy Award. As a musician, I will hear top engineers pick, something like that. So these awards are the only way that this communication happens across different stratas of society, and the recognition comes in. So it's just that, in my opinion, number one. And collaborations, I always believe that listening, in my opinion, is the first quality of collaboration. Because what happens is, I have practiced 25 years of my music. I am already full of gyan. I am the most gyani in this entire. And I walk into a studio with this approach, I will not be able to collaborate with anybody. Right. I have to go like a pure, clean slate with whom I have to collaborate. Like, I do not think about myself at all. I say, okay, what is this person got to offer? Or what is this person wanting to share? That's the first thing which I see. And that is pretty much the last thing also, because that determines how I collaborate with him. So how, because every collaboration is not the same. Because in one project, there is a singer-songwriter album. In there, I know that my guitar's volume will not be as much as the singer's voice. So I know how much to collaborate, so that I play only that much that is required, so that it gets some kind of a upliftment for that singing. If she's singing something beautiful, I have to make that singing sound more beautiful through my work. I just can't say, okay, you have heard her, now listen to Prakash Chaitra and change the whole scenario. No, it's not like that. Because a collaboration becomes a collaboration genuinely only when everything sounds wonderful. It can't be said this is a great collaboration of Prakash Chaitra and nobody, who knows. It's not, that's not a collaboration at all then. That means I have played all over the album and people are just wondering, wow, he's so good. So the collaboration is a success when people listen to the whole song in its wholesome self. The whole song's communicates the song, what the song has to communicate. That idea is going through. And if this collaboration has been introduced there, that means the collaboration is successful because it was able to carry that one single idea across perfectly. Otherwise, it's okay, it's a bunch of talented musicians getting together and just jamming. In my opinion, it's all that. Today, in the year 2000, 2020, collaborations are completely on the intrinsic level of what the whole project says and how far am I able to carry that whole thought. Yeah. So that is a collaboration. So you have to be a listener. You can't walk into a studio only as a player and say, okay, Or if it is somebody's production, somebody has produced something, and say, Mr. Sontakke, I just want 2 bars of slide here, thank you. That's all. Means then it's okay. It's a production. But a collaboration becomes a collaboration when you actually listen to what the other person is saying. Is that person also stepping out of his boundaries? Are you also stepping out of your boundaries? And then you are meeting at a ground which is very uniquely neutral to everybody. So a collaboration is successful there where a song is just a beautiful song. You didn't say, oh yeah, this song was nice. It was based out of Hindustani Classical and little jazz. I think that's all, it's just for discussions. But the fact is a song success is if people have heard it, liked it first. Then you ask somebody what you liked in that song. Then after it, you can say, okay, what genre it was. So these are all like in descending order. So the biggest success of the collaboration is if people are hearing the song, liking it. That's. So I always believe that like I was recently there in Varanasi, collaborating with my friend Praveen Chaturvedi, who makes this Moonlight Films, very popular production house in Benares. So we were given, he was given this documentary to make on Kashi Vishwanath corridor.
Yeah.
And
Congratulations, because it's there in the Prime Minister's handle as well on YouTube.
Correct. The whole thought was, that when I met Revati ji, she's such a beautiful singer. My thought when she shared her composition, then she wanted that composition to be there. I was so surprised that the composition by itself was so full. It was just like I could have just left the voice just there and done nothing with it. It was just beautiful. Because there is narration, he's narrating the whole, how this whole process happened, and then that voice. So then I thought of adding a little bit of fusionish elements of some interesting beats which will come into that picture. So that the song is already there, it has got its entire message very clear. This music of fusion, bringing the beats it just happened so beautifully that was used as an element of construction, how things are getting constructed, because construction is a very material, like, mechanical process. The mechanical process are there. So the bringing in the beats there automatically looked like it was thought about and just manufactured for that. So, that's what I said. As a music director, if somebody has given me like okay, where do I bring Prakash Chaitra here? It's not ideology. The idea is if this song is good enough in itself, then I just have to focus on that song and make something else around it to make it look beautiful. Like, sometimes in a painting, the main thing stands out in a different color.
Yeah.
Or you want to make that main thing stand out, you blur the other colors.
Yeah.
There are different ways of looking at it. So I always believe that is my basic philosophy. If a song is being heard for its entirety, we have to see how we can make it more wonderful. So I believe collaboration is all about listening to the other side and seeing what you can do to make that also sound beautiful.
And your invention?
I just call it Swarveena also, for the very same reason that if I will say Prakash Veena, Sontakke Veena, it's very easy for me to get into that. But I didn't do it because anybody who wants to play their instrument should play it without having prejudice, some kind of a precondition that, okay, if you're a Prakash Sontakke disciple only, you'll play Prakash Veena. Why should that happen? Somebody else's disciple also wants to pick up this instrument, he should be able to. I was not very keen about bringing Prakash or Sontakke into the picture because I felt that will instantly limit the scope of that instrument. Only somebody related to me, learning from me, my disciple's disciple, this whole big legacy talk. What is the point if your great legacy talk name is big, but there's nobody there? We don't have hundreds of disciples who are taking our name and doing something with it. What's the point then? The real the proof of the legacy is if there are hundreds of people in that legacy practicing music, doing something with it. So I just kept it Swarveena, the easiest thing for me, because then again you have to go into this whole copyright world, pay some thousands and lakhs of dollars to some lawyer sitting in the world who doesn't care about anything anyway. Nobody ever thought about the diya. Have you ever thought who owns the copyright for a diya? Today, though, you go to Gujarat, some Rajasthan, you see there are so many beautiful varieties of diya which have come. It's incredible. I'm like, my goodness, who thought of this design, this color? So let's leave it at that. Means if it is practically useful for somebody, let them play it. They don't take my name. I don't care because there is no name associated with it anyway. Because the guy who made it for me, he kept asking, don't do all that. Just anybody picks it up, just give it to them. Or whatever you want to charge, that minimal charge you charge and you give it to them. So many people in Chennai would pick up that instrument, then call me slowly and say, "Sir, I picked up this Varveena." So I was very happy that okay, good, you are doing something good with it. That's all. And I have never given it a second thought also that should I have associated my name with it, and it doesn't. That thought only doesn't come.
And in a world today where everybody is so noisy and worried about their names being visible, they being visible, and people remembering them, the two of you stand out for me because you make your work speak. And at a time when people say work alone is not enough, you have to talk about your work. How would you talk about the changing times?
No, I think we are coming to a point of time in every culture today where there is over information. We are living in a world of over information battling with misinformation. You know, because for everything people just go and say, "Oh, I'll check Google."
Google.
I always tell them that listen, there must be something which Google doesn't know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I know that. Come to me. No, I mean, I'm not being critical about Google. I'm very happy that Google does that because it's when we were kids, if you remember, we had to do research. We would walk into a library, walk into the row. If it was science, walk into the science row. There are what I'm looking for. This is my book. And then when I'm picking out that book, uske agal bagal mein na something next to it and something next to it and something two next to it, three next to it. I would have the time to this is nice. What is this? So that additional information curiosity got killed because of Google.
Yeah.
I mean, what is now this? What is Navaras? Navaras. Yes, I know it. So, and then tomorrow, some scholar talks about Navaras for 1 hour. You'll be like, what is this guy talking about 1 hour? That was just a line in Google. So we have to get out of that world of misinformation and over information and make focus because these are all things which go on lifelong. You keep learning because even now, just yesterday I was talking to somebody and I realized this could be such a good way of teaching somebody who is not able to catch pitch, because I used to have a student who used to be like absolutely no idea of pitch, but he used to sing wonderfully whatever he sang because he had heard things from childhood and he would sing it. So based on his singing, I thought, wow, I have found the student of my lifetime. This student is going to make me immortal in history. And I got this student to my house and I started teaching him. And first day of Sarega Pandanisa, I was in tears myself. Like, so I was like, what's he doing? How is this guy possibly singing what he sings so beautifully? So it was a big shock. And then I realized at some point of time that I could teach him through, conversation. Say, hello. So he would say, hello, So I would catch him on words, pick out words. And just then when I was conversing with somebody, I just remembered this, that I could teach him only through words. Hello, how are you? Hello. He would catch that. So through that, I taught him for 6, 7, 8 months. And then he would do Saregama Padanisa correctly. So my greatest journey for those 8 months was to get him to do Saregama Padanisa from the pitch that I wanted, not he. So I just remembered that, using that conversation as a medium of teaching. I was initially, as an instrumentalist, I was be very disrespectful towards lyrics. I wouldn't say disrespectful, just the fact that I was like, what is there in lyrics here? The tune is everything, because that's what happens to you as an instrumental artist, because you are playing a medium which doesn't have any words. So you start appreciating the wordless medium much more. And then gradually over the years, I understood the importance of the words, the communication with words too. And still to this day, I sometimes feel that it's such a great learning. This documentary, Adi Anadi Ananta Apar, when the lyrics are sent to me, I was just thinking, how will I describe Adi Anadi Ananta Apar? Means it's all about explaining infinity in just one line. And it is Shiva himself singing. So then this thought rotated, how to bring infinity through words and the tune also. The blend of both ultimately. So Chaitra will always say, your lyrics are always going for a toss. It's a fact. And I accept it because, but now I am very conscious. I'll always ask Chaitra that please tell me where I'm going wrong.
We are in that part of the conversation. You've given a lot of your time with the last two parts of the conversation. One is on the pandemic, which has been reflective for the whole world. A lot has shifted for the world. Has anything shifted for the two of you in the last 2 years?
When it comes to live music or performing live, yes, it does make it did make an impact where there is no direct communication as performers or performing artists. The whole experience where you are on stage with other artists, maybe with the tabla playing and instruments playing, and we used to do a lot of collaborations live also, like some shows like ragas everywhere, and all like a lot of that was missed during pandemic. So everything came online, and it was for live performances, it was again a whole new story of where you make adaptations with all the technology and everything. But the second part of it, the teaching part, was not much affected because I think Shankar Mahadevan Academy thought ahead of times. So we were online from the last 10 years, like as you know, we are celebrating our 10th year. So that was a thought which Sridhar and Shankarji thought, I mean, long
That
back.
many years back.
When people were like totally dismissing this whole thing of learning music online, and that to a classical form of music. I think with the coming of pandemic, a lot more people join, or like they got in touch with us, or we kind of expanded that way. They became more accepting to the thought and idea of online learning. So we could, I think we could make an impact and contribute maybe in a significant way, I think. So,
Yeah, I
so
think
I'm really happy about that.
if you had to study about the pandemic, I guess there are 2-3 points of time in history when, say, post World War. If you study post World War phase, how people reacted, and so there is a saying which I don't know whether it's a saying or which is a kind of a research which says that after this life-changing experiences, the value of life increases. So when pandemic comes, in like post World War, everybody wanted to live, get married, have children, because they had seen the mammoth destruction which was caused by war. Then the Spanish flu. So if you study all those, then there's a cultural renaissance which happens within the society, because people now start valuing what they have and not valuing what they don't have. Because what they don't have is anyway not going to matter. What they have is life. So how do you celebrate life in itself? Because there are so many things which are being done today, like yoga being used as a cure for so many things. So these thoughts were unthought of before, like, so nobody would have
Music
thought
as
that
a
cancer could be removed by healing. So the factor of healing has come into the factor of life, and it happens in every society that first you have to run to make the bread and butter, and then after the bread and butter you start thinking, okay, what do I do next? So in those lines, I think the pandemic has come as a very rude shock to society, where everything has been thrown to the wind, and you don't know, and then suddenly from scratch you have to completely restructure your life. So I feel that is where arts and culture bring in the real value for restructuring.
Yeah.
The restructuring of the life happens only when you have arts in your life,
Yeah.
because you could be doing anything. Once you get upset about the smallest thing, you don't know what to do with it, and it's a very, very negative space when you don't know what to do, and it could take you into any direction.
True. True.
So that's where arts really brings in that factor of how to value your life for what you have, rather than regret for what you don't have. So I think, like, whenever I studied, I'm like, somehow just by chance it happened that I studied Spanish flu, then the post war, and then I found that there is a strange renaissance which happens after all these things. So you value life. So I think that's the greatest thing to, because in our day-to-day life, we rarely value life,
Yeah.
because you're so busy to just sleep after the day's job and get up for the next morning's job, that when did life pass in between these phases, you don't know.
True, true.
So time for pondering has come, and a lot of time for pondering. The last 2 years, I think lots of pondering has happened and brought people closer to understanding life. So it's good. It's good in one way that you realize that yes, life is something to be taken more seriously than just a discussion.
Yeah, you're very right, Prakashji, because there are two things that even the media found out, and they called it the Great Resignation, where people just randomly quit their job. Why? Because of the pandemic epiphany, which was all about understanding the value of work life balance. And suddenly people realize that I have a choice. It's my life, and like you said, it just passed. Now I might as well value what I have, and that's very true. And as we're talking about life, 3 life lessons that I would like each of you to leave us with.
Be who you are, keep at what you believe in, and always have faith in what in your own belief, and keep working towards it. So what comes out of it is a different thing, without giving much thought to where it is taking me or what am I getting out of it. Whatever you give comes back to you in a very beautiful way.
Beautiful way. Yeah.
So she's done with hers, Prakash.
Mine is always one thing. Yes, always be an excited student, because you don't know suddenly what lessons you might just get without even realizing that you're getting one. So be excited about that learning. So that is, I think, pretty much I feel that's the only way I get across life. Every morning, I'm sure that there will be something exciting for you to get up to. Number 2, number 3, no, just keep at it, because it's very natural that questions like that will come across in your life very often. That is this anything valuable? You can never determine when something will be valuable, and definitely, like if you are trying to measure value only in certain parameters that you have heard the society recommending as parameters, then you might be wrong. Means better not to determine what determines value. So leave that. Just the same lage raho.
Just today I was listening to an audiobook, and the first statement of the audiobook was words are very powerful. And when there is a word spoken by you, somewhere there is a universal blessing to that word. And therefore, be as positive as possible, because the word has that power to put positivity and spread it across, because you have a choice of what you use. And I feel that is where both of you, for me, are perfect in your choice of being positive about whatever you're putting out there and not worrying about what are you getting in return, which makes you amazing as people. And just stay blessed, Chaitra and Prakashji. Continue doing what you're doing, and may the Lord bless you with whatever your wishes are and grant you that, because people like you are very rare. And I think we need people like this to just continue to tell the world that be yourself, you will find a day and a place for yourself. So thank you very much for being on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. It was such a pleasure hosting both of you.
Really a pleasure for us, Rashmi. And I saw some of the other interviews also, and I felt that you always encourage people to be themselves and come up with what they have to say, rather than guiding them through it.
Yes.
So I think that's a beautiful approach to, that's the only right approach, I feel, to get people to be themselves.
Yeah, because each one of us is very unique, Prakashji. And like both of you, each one brings their own individuality, and you and I stands for that. The whole purpose of the conversation is to draw the uniqueness and individuality each one of us carries in this journey called life. And that's what makes our journeys very different from each other. But still we blend at the end. And that's the beauty of it all.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and very, very happy New Year to the two of you.
Oh, yes.
And God bless both of you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. Bye.
Bye.
With that, we come to the end of this weekly quest of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know people who make the world beautiful. Write in to rashmi.the3rd@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thirdeye@gmail.com. Come, let's explore this amazing world together, both you and I.